All right. Peace, once again. Just another one. Right. Another joint here. This is, it's right if I stand up, it's cool?
Yo, that's cool, man.
All right, good, because I don't feel like sitting down this time. This is another one, trying again. We'll see what happens with this one again. Esoteric chess.
All right.
And I guess I had to start this off with a disclaimer that all these joints are not made for mundane people. If you're trapped in the five senses, non-spiritual type of person, any person who, if it's beyond your five senses, is spookism, darkness, anything like that, I'm not talking to you. This tape is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cut it off, put it away. That's why I like to put esoteric, occult. My next tape, I swear, I want to call it spooky nigga talking shit or voodoo boy or something like that, because I don't really want no mundane people looking at the tapes, you know what I'm saying? Because it gets a little irritating. The comic book thing comes in. One guy told me to stick to the facts on it's called occult origins of comic books or occult anime. They go past the occult and go straight into the cartoon or the comic book part. It's occult, all right? So if you're not into that, just leave it alone. For occult, for my...
Go see Fahrenheit 9/11.
Yeah, there you go. Go do something cultured. Go get crunk. Go get crunk or chase a white girl or whatever's happening in the mundane community. That's not what's going on in the esoteric occult. The weirdos. The militant weirdos. You know what I'm saying? And, I'd like to think I get spaced out on a lot of these tapes, but no matter how weird or how strange I try to make it, still the most spaced out concept I've ever heard is the concept of a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Caucasian male resurrecting himself from a physical death to save your holy immortal soul. No matter what happens, that concept still is more spaced out than anything I can say on my esoteric tapes. And today, I'm going to go into chess. I picked it out because I never seen anybody do a tape on chess, especially an esoteric. Esoteric, a secret. Spooky niggas. Spooky nigga talking shit. Voodoo boy. on this one, see, I'm looking around, you see me looking around because this is like one of the most disorganized ones I put together. I had to get like notes. I got like a notebook. Well, I always keep notes. I don't know if I went in this on the other tapes. My notes. Read!
Don't be like
the thing with the notes, I try to put it up. You gotta put it on camera now. It's practically scrolling. And I say that to make a point that no one can really read any stuff I have here but me. That's the problem they're having now with hieroglyphics and all those kind of things. Really, the only people that really understand what they're writing to a certain extent is the people who wrote it. You understand? So it's like if you were to look at my notebook, you'll know what the words are, maybe, but you won't know what that word activates within me. You understand? It opens up a whole thing. Just one word opens up a whole subject within my head, and that's what happens with hieroglyphics and that kind of situation. And the other things I wanted to go into before I start getting into the chess is that, in addition to being one of those spaced out guys, I'm one of those guys, I got like this real crazy idea. I don't know where I got it from. I got a crazy idea that Western civilization must be destroyed. I don't know where I got the concept from. I didn't make it up. This crazy idea that black man, black woman is God. I'm a little nutty like that. Please pardon me. I don't know where that came from. I'm a little nutty. Woo! Little nutty guy, nutty boy. A little nutty. I don't know what that is. And let's see, checking my notes. Got it up there. I'm just trying to get energized, man. I'm trying to get energized, man. Just a little nutty, a little spooky. We're in the Armageddon time, right? And Armageddon, this word just called out to me one day. Back when I think I was trying to be a Rasta for like one day. Armageddon. More Jesus stuff, man. Oh, chalk. Look, there's chalk. Look at me. I was teaching somebody now. All right, anyway. I don't know how many people know this. I got this from the Rasta people. The Rasta people. I say them like they're like in some third world country somewhere. And the word Armageddon, for what I learned, you see that? Am I blocking right in the way? Yes, is the arm of Gideon. Gideon was a hero, saved Israel from the Midianites. It's in the Bible. I wrote the verses. Well, I wrote the book. It's in Judges, chapter 6 through chapter 8. And I think they were like outnumbered. The Israelites were outnumbered by the Midianites. But they still destroyed the Midianites because they had horns, they had trumpets. They kept in a glass jar with torches. And when nighttime came, they must have broke their jars, blasted their trumpets, flashing the torches, and it scared all the Midianites, went and scattered, and they slaughtered them. So that's in the Bible. That's what Gideon was. He slaughtered the Midianites. You know, so you gotta look up what a Midianite is. There's a homework assignment. Let's tell me what a Midianite. Let me stop playing around for people start approaching me on the street telling me what a Midianite is. I really don't give a shit. Movies on chess.
All right.
Was Fresh was my personal favorite. Personal favorite joint because the whole movie, if you know how to look at it, is dealing with chess. Searching for Bobby Fischer, where they had a black man. Oh, excuse me. Oh, a second. I don't know. Anyway, somebody. See, I'm a victim of an occult attack just now.
You had to do the last time, this outburst.
Oh yeah, that was good. We keep that in this time. Who's that Dithers? Who's that young upstart doing tapes on chess? What does he know about chess? Young upstart. Searching for Bobby Fischer, where I think it had Larry Fishburne? Lawrence Fishburne, whatever. Trying to teach the little devil how to play chess. And last one, Harry Potter. The first one, there was some chess going around, and there's a lot of chess going around through all the movies, but the first two over to Harry Potter was the ones that was dealing blatantly with a lot of chess stuff. All right. Now, we're gonna start getting into chess. Oh, today's lectures have been brought to you by Masterpieces. And please don't go out and buy the books. Don't waste your time and energy. Just look at the tape, have fun. Don't sit there buying the books and reading all the stuff, because there's not going to be a quiz. All right, well, just in case, here it is.
I'm one of those guys, this the shit out.
You never know. All right. You know, I don't like usually giving up names of books because I don't like giving devils free advertising, because you know no black people wrote these damn books. The Art of Chess, I'm reading directly from these books. Usually I write down notes, memorize it, and then kind of redo it, but today I'm just not up for it. I think it's raining outside. I'm a little tired. And just one scene from Golden Age of the Moor.
Oh yeah, I saw that. There's a picture there now.
Yeah. Just that one. I don't know if that came in good.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Showing some Moors, playing Moors. You know, niggas got a patent pending on the name Moors now, so I'm not sure if I get a knock on the door from one of them bays asking for some copyright infringement or something. Oh, and of course it's from the Bible.
It's in the Bible?
No, the chess part isn't in the Bible. Just a lot of stuff I'm talking about is in the Bible.
Oh,
but they didn't really, you know. Yeah, it would be nice. I didn't really look it up. There probably is something in there, so somebody else decides. Yeah, somebody else decides to do a chess lecture. Okay, so the first things, starting off with chess. The origins of chess, they usually say, is in India. They argue it between India and China. I'm going to go back to some stuff in ancient Egypt. The reason why I say they kind of say it, there's a lot of confusion. I usually get up and try to put disclaimers on everything saying I'm not a master of anything. I'm not sitting around trying to pretend like I know it all or just one set way is the answer. That's just not true. There's always a lot of different stuff, and the more research you do, the more contradictory and confused all the histories become. So even in China and India, where they said chess originated, it wasn't played the way it's played today. So technically, the devil will say, well, that's not really chess. Chess as it's played today was played started out like in the 1500s to the 1700s. Because what they introduced originally, they changed the rules around a lot. It's almost a different game. It's practically a different game. But the first games that came up, since chess is really dealing with a lot of mathematics, I started looking up dominoes. I started off with dominoes. I don't know why, just the mathematics theme, and it's like a board game. Oh, and it's one of those games black people all over the world kind of partake in. I say particularly like in the Caribbean and here. Dominoes is one. Card games, that's like spades. What's the other ones? Blackjack, pity pat. Yeah, pity pat is all that bridge. Everybody plays different rules, but you have to know, in order to survive in any black community, you have to know how to play dominoes. Chess is another one on the low, even though it's considered, I know sometimes people consider it more of an intellectual game, but I know a lot of people I played with, they learned how to play while they were locked down, so I don't know, the street intellectual, I don't know what fancy terms these kids have for it today, Dominoes and dice. Dominoes, oldest dominoes are found with Tutankhamun in Thebes in the 18th dynasty, 1355 BC. And that's over in the Cairo Museum. King Tut playing dominoes. Dice, they have going back to, and I found all different kinds of stuff. This was stuff I just pulled down from the internet. And every time I went to a different site, everybody had a different answer. That's why I said everything's confused. Dice, they had King Ramses from 12th dynasty, but I think even that dynasty might have been during that Habaru kind of period, Hebrew, whatever they want to pronounce that kind of period. But they also have it going back as far as 2000 BC and 1500 BC. And the ones on the site, I didn't write it down, because pretty much you just type in dice, and then you can look on the internet, And I had a whole bunch of stuff with that. Dice, the reason I had to go in with the dice is because some chess back, I think in India, they used to play it with dice. Which makes it a little strange. I don't know if, should I do like a beginning chess moves or whatever? I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't imagine someone sitting down looking at something like this if they don't know how to play chess, huh? Yeah, I wouldn't imagine somebody sitting down trying to see a breakdown of a game they don't know how to play, but then, all right, I'm gonna set them up. You get it from, you set it up from here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm gonna be explaining the rules as I go, because the rules are actually a good portion of the racism and the grafting locked in the game. I forgot to give a shout out to this magazine. I got some of this from Frontline. Somebody did an article in Frontline, 53, April 2004. I'll give his name since I got the magazine right here in front of me. I'm not reading from it, but I'll give his name. Mwalamu K. Bumani Baruti. Okay, so he did a nice little article thing on chess. It kind of stayed with me, but it's still bearing on this particular topic. All right, now, wow, going into all the pieces. Should I be going into all the pieces already? Gotta check my notes.
I'm getting like shots of the pieces.
You getting shots of pieces? You know what? Before I even do that, we're gonna. Yeah, before we do that, like I said, this one's gonna be a little. I'm gonna jump around a lot, but it's spiritual. Spiritual. Yeah. Let's get spiritual. Spiritual. I'm just kidding. All right. Yeah, edit that part out. Anyway,
I gotta do that chapter. I'm gonna have you go like that.
like a straight fag.
Just,
no. Oh, man. Let me show a picture of this joint right here. When I first seen this, I thought chess was definitely this is from the Art of Chess book. If you can get in on that.
Oh, man.
It's showing someone.
It's laid out.
Yeah, it looks like
Is
the.
that Nefertiti?
I think so. It is. It says it on here. Bas relief gains a chance. They don't say it in this book.
Sons of bitches.
Even only used to convention style. I see his picture before. I think it's Nefertiti. But if you got it already, you got it? Yeah.
We'll get it right there.
I think it's Nefertiti playing a game that, at first glance, I thought it was chess.
It looks just like it.
It's actually a precursor. This is what I'm saying. Depends on who you're asking. Precursor. It's a game called Senet.
All right.
Senet, and this is like really tapping into the history of board games, because Senet was a 3x10 board game. It was like 3 squares by 10 squares, and you would roll dice. Actually, they had sticks. They used white and black sticks
That's what I was
as
gonna
dice.
ask you. I've seen a lot of cultures where they throw these sticks,
Yeah,
and I always assume those are dice. Too.
those are dice. It's a different form of dice.
Right.
It's like maybe, I think like 3 or 4 sticks. One side is black, the other side is white,
Right.
and whatever it turns up, like if 2 sides are black, 2 sides are white, that's a 2. If 3 sides are white, other side is black, that's whatever that number is. So it's another form of dice. And that's what they use in Senet, but they also use dice sometimes too. Depends on, who's playing. And the game would go like a S. It's 3 across, 10 deep, and it would go up and down like a S, which is basically kind of signaling like the representative. This is not what I got from, I didn't read this. This is me talking now. You know what I'm saying? I put that in there, not saying I'm Johnny Smart Guy, just saying that there's always a possibility that I'm wrong. It happens sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you've never seen the tape on and stuff and you're just kind of looking at it, interpreting it. But even in the reading, it said that it was basically the journey of the soul trying to reach a mentor. So I guess the S would be kind of like the snake. And that's how the games were played. The games were representative of a whole spiritual operation. The games were a model, if you will, of the universe or of one's universe. And how you dealt in the games would be partaking how you would do in life.
Right.
Or if you were going to get your soul home. Everything was really spiritual. The world was built by spiritual, occult people, not mundane people.
Right.
The world was built by gods, not mundane people. You understand? I have to keep putting that out because everything wasn't 5 senses.
It's also like the Kundalini.
Yeah, yes. Yes, the S in a sense is also like the snake. That's where they get the snake from. And that's what Senet did. And some of the squares, I did write some of this down, some of the squares had different names on the square. Once you start going into the square, now we're starting to get more into the esoteric meanings of the square. It's 4 90-degree angles. It's really 360. And each square would be a house on any board game that was played back then. That's what the square was representing. So just some of the ones I got on here, like square 15 within Senet would be the House of Rebirth. Square 26 was called the Beautiful House. 27 was the water hazard house. There's certain dangers on each square. It was a lot of numerology within a board game that was played by pharaohs and the so-called common folk. I'm sure they didn't have that kind of mentality until once the devil came on the planet, then everything changed. So that's really what I'm trying to get at, and that's why I had to start at. It was a difference between how the games and the stories were then as opposed to now. Now everything is a lot more, if you look at the sets, it's black and white. Suddenly everything's real racial. Whether people want to look at it that way or not, the rules of the game are racist. Subliminally, we're going to get over to that. And in the 30 squares, and this one I quoted from the site I got the rules of Senet from. So after you reach the 30th square, when you hit 31, you become God. That was the whole science behind Senet. And people would play this and work at that. Okay, now, got a whole bunch of other stuff on here. But I think now I'm going to try to take the time out. Well, I have to take the time out to set up the chess pieces. And which one should I set up? Should I go with the regular set, or you want me to go with this?
Regular first.
Regular first. Okay. Give introduction to all the pawns. Most chess people are already familiar with all this stuff. This is nothing new. We go into all the pawns, which there are 8 pawns set up in the front. These are just grabbed at random. You're not supposed to put them on the board a certain way. But the board is supposed to be set up a certain way. The white square is supposed to be on the right-hand side. That's automatically, we're starting to get into the racist aspect now. White is on the right. If the board isn't set up with white on the right, the board is wrong. So automatically, white is on the right. That's subliminally telling you something. Okay, so that's that. And the other racist aspect of it is white always goes first.
What are those pieces?
Oh, okay. We have what's now called the rook.
Or the castle.
Or the castle, okay, true.
Yeah.
True, it's now called the castle.
Yeah, I was a castle guy.
He was a castle guy.
The rook came later when I was talking to somebody. They said, the rook, I was like, what are you talking about? Rook, what?
Have the knight, which
knight.
is the horse.
That's the horse.
It's always been the horsey to me, yeah.
Wait a minute, I gotta see where you putting these. So the castles go on the corner, right?
They go in the corners, yeah.
All right.
The knights.
Is there a reason?
Yes.
We'll get to that later.
We get it, yes. Everything is, yeah, I go into all of that stuff somewhere, yeah. Then I'll go into the bishops.
We'll get a shot.
Yeah, bishops, guys.
I didn't get a shot at none of these pieces.
Okay, because we're doing it like, then there's the queen who always goes on her color, and the king. All right, let me just hurry up and put the other side, yeah. Doesn't mean anything if you knock over a piece.
You sure?
I'm sure. Actually, I've lost most games where I've knocked over a piece in the middle of the game. Let's make sure that's all right. So once white is on the right, it's already sending out something to the brain that white is right. If you're not white, you're not right. Okay? Cool. That's cute, yeah? Yeah, this is a game of war. That's why you have to understand how funny it is when I say that's cute. This is a game of war, death, and, you know, these are supposed to all be representative of something here. Let's check, see what our scrolled up notes say. Oh, okay, well, we're breaking down some chess stuff. All right, let's do some chess. The notes say to do a chess breakdown, so I go in my notes. I was half sleeping when I wrote this. I know that's from some song somewhere. All right, chess, original name. Here's where I start reading, because... chess. Original name. Oh, this is Masterpieces, Gareth Williams. This is what I'm going to be reading from here. The original name of chess was Chaturanga. Chaturanga, and the original setup, which that's why I wanted to see if you could zoom in on this one, because the original setup was nothing. It wasn't like this. There were it was able for 4 people to play. If you could get up right up in that corner there. Yeah, that little small box. It's able for 4 people to play, and there was no queen. And the 4 pieces represented the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. And when we speak about the elements, we're not talking about a mundane fire, earth, air, and water. We're not talking about elements on a element chart. That's good? We're talking about the nature of fire, air, water, and ether. Like, the nature of fire is warm, life. So that's what we're talking about, the esoteric nature of it. There's life. Water is fluidity. Earth would be solid, dependability, firmness. And air would be intellectual. Flighty, And ether, I know one book I read described it as, would be described as capacity, but it's also kind of like the connecting element. So that whole connection is ether. So that was the original way the game was set up. And you go to the origins. So I read 2 origins. There was one that was in the Frontline magazine, and then there's the one that the rest of the world has. And this is because Frontline is a black magazine. They've got one story, then the white boys have a whole other situation going on behind that. Chess, according to the European world, let's see, there's only one, when chess started, came from a Persian manuscript called the Shahnameh, which is the Book of Kings. It recalls a legend of the 6th century of how a Raja of India sent an envoy laden with precious gifts as a tribute to a powerful Persian king, Shah Khusara Nushirwan or somebody. And the message contained a challenge to the wise men at the Persian court. They had to discover how this Indian game was played. If they succeeded, the Raja would substantially increase his tribute to the Shah. But on the other hand, if the wise men failed to solve the puzzle, then the payment would be reversed and a substantial tribute would be demanded by the Raja. So the challenge was accepted, and the Shah's wisest vizier, and vizier, which has come down now as the word advisor, has also come down as the word wizard. Wizard came from the word vizier. He studied it for a day and then concluded that the chess set was a battlefield. And it had all the different pieces. The pieces weren't called what they're called today. The pieces like the knight. The knight, according to this book, was called, this guy's the knight, this is the horse. It was called the cavalry.
Turn it sideways.
Oh, yeah, that'd be better. The cavalry.
This is the first piece, right?
Yeah, it was just the first one I picked up.
All right.
The bishop was an elephant. Wasn't this? Was an elephant. And wow, I got another. I'll go into the other names. There's a whole list of other names that all these pieces had. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole list of names that Bishop had. There was no king, there was no queen, and the king was called the Shah.
That's Persian.
Yeah, from India. That was one of the original names.
Let me see that. Perfect.
Okay. And the pawns were just foot soldiers. Let me see if I can go into what the other names were real fast.
It's interesting that even that word pawn
Yeah.
is like an English word now for other things.
Right.
Just what it applies.
That's what we're saying. The whole thing has just turned real. It's really been changed once a white person gets their hands on stuff. Everything changes around. Wow,
I was just speaking to the popularity of the game.
Right.
That they can even have a word in English for like pawn, checkmate.
Yeah,
Those are real
terms. Checkmate, check,
Check.
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 Wow.
Yo, I don't know what kind of, this is crazy.
Okay, here it is. These are all the different names. I'm not going to sit down and read through all these names. I'll just show a little, put a chart. Put it down.
Show me that board. Which one is the big?
Oh, this one right here. Can you see it? Can it be made out?
By somebody that's a speed reader, maybe, but this shit don't matter.
I'm not going to say. Uh-oh. SOL. Read the book. The name of it's Masterpieces. Yes, well, and I'll go through some of them, I guess. All right.
I mean, yeah.
In French and Italian, the king was called the Roy, or the Ra. So we're already going back into something calling him the Roy and the Ra. The queen, they got all kind of names on this thing for the queen. Wow. Wazir, Regina in Italian for queen. And like I said, there's a lot more. I'm not gonna go into all of that. I'm sorry. There's a lot more. Read a book. No, I'm just kidding. I was really looking for all the different designs, but that's really getting too heavily into the book. When they had I did write a lot of this stuff out. Hold on. Can we take a break just for 1 second? Yeah. I tried to organize things a little tighter because I didn't want to just start getting into the real meat of the thing, and no one even knows the basics of how the board is set up now. Right. I assume if somebody's going to buy a tape on chess, they already know how to play chess, but I'm not going to assume all the time. Like I said, it was the original name from the Indians as opposed to the Chinese. I didn't mention that. There's a Chinese chess. It's not really played. It's like, let me see if I can show a picture of it. Because, this is what we keep saying with these devils. If it's not, they said this is what the board looks like over here. And it's played with black and white pieces, and there's symbols on the pieces. I never played the game. I don't know how it's played.
Have you seen a real board?
I've never seen a real board. I think they got pictures on the next page over there of some guys playing.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I've never really seen it played. But
That's a Jul10 shit.
yeah, so it's like, guys good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So what's going on with that is, since the rules aren't exactly like chess is now, they're going to say it's not chess.
Right.
Really, it's just, I'm trying to show up all these different forms of chess. The point of it, what are we saying here? The point is, when you as the original black man and woman ruled the planet, you didn't lock everything down into one thing. You understand, like this being chess, this is what they consider chess, and if you change the rules around, it's not chess anymore. You can't change the rules. It's locked. It's frigid. There's a set number of rules to their games, whereas our games, we did different variations of things and made it so it could flow, made it versatile.
Like
the
how
word.
we play street ball.
Exactly. You have to ask first, well, how do y'all play here before you start playing? You understand? So it's like little variations of stuff. There's only a set amount of moves you can do on a chess set. That's why I have all different pieces, a set amount of stuff. And the original name from the Indians, which was, well, even if they say Persia, we're talking Persia before Arabs. We're not talking about Arabs doing stuff. We're still dealing with black people. All right? Chaturanga and the should I write it out? Should I chalk it?
Hey, why not? Man? You got chalk over there.
I got chalk. Let's try it.
Let's try this, dude.
All right, the original name. One of the original names. I'm sure there was others.
You got good handwriting. Chaturanga.
Chaturanga. And the Chatur. Right? Chatur meant 4. The anga, which I thought stood for angle, but according to the information I got, means limbs. So before we start getting into the 4 corners of the board, the rooks or the castles, they represent the 4 limbs: the leg, head, arm, and then the whole board would be the head, because it's all just one board. It's one body, but it's balancing itself out. You understand? They've taken the word. I like this thing with the chalk. The dual, which is duality too. Don't worry, I'm not going to use chalk on the next joint. I'm not going to use chalk on the next joint. This is not my thing. They've changed the word duel and made it into a duel. You understand? Check? Yeah, all right, yeah. Yeah. I erase all my stuff right after I'm done. I don't want no devils coming in here. This is what they're doing tapes on? Oh, let's sit down here and see what they have to say about chess. These niggas don't know nothing about chess.
The challenge by some damn chess.
Yeah. Some little 13-year-old devil coming here. Oh, I'm sure they do. Okay, now. Chess symbolizes.
Same time during the tape, the last.
Man, I have no respect for physical property.
That's normal.
Yeah.
The same amount of minutes.
Yeah.
It happened before you start dropping it.
That's the spirit, brother. That's mathematics.
Wow. Hey.
Yes, so that's what the game represents. The Allah, the arm, leg, arm, head. That's what the 4 angles are on there for from India. Symbolizes the game of life. And it would also tap somewhat into the gnosis. All right, I'm sorry. The gnosis, where it's going into we are all simple chips governed by invisible or occult forces. That's what people, if they believe in fate, karma, destiny, spookism, darkness. The whole board is 8 squares by 8 squares. And 8 is the number that, Supreme Mathematics was build or destroy, but it's also the number of infinity.
Right.
So also if you look at the 8 and the way it's designed, oh man, I gotta write this out again. All right.
That's no man. I'm not over there.
Anyway, it's the as above, so below kind of concept. That's the 8, and that's what we're dealing with infinity by the 8 by 8, and 8 by 8, which brings us to 64. 64 comes out to 10, and that brings us into the mathematics of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, tree of life, and if you were the board is actually split in half because you only have you have 16 pieces on your side. 16 comes out to 7. It's the number of God, but there's only 6 actual pieces because the pawn, the so-called the smallest one, which has the potential to become the greatest one. No, actually the pawn does not have the potential to become the greatest one. It has the potential to become more powerful. We'll put it that way. The most powerful piece on the board is always the king. The king is representative of you, it's representative of the soul. The king is you. I don't know if that sounds right. But anyway, you are the king. Yes. And I know in here they would refer to board games or I think chess. I got this written down here as the Valley of Samsara. The board game itself is called the Valley of Samsara. And if you go into the Kemetic breakdown of Samsara, Sam is, I think, black. Sarah is still, it's all just a fancy name for the black Kundalini energy. And when you win, or when you complete the game, you have reached the highest level of the Kundalini energy. You've conquered your dragon. You've reached the highest level of the Kundalini energy. Okay, that's just that part. So far, so good. Gotta check over my notes again. Yeah, it's still just warming up stuff. Just see these notes. This stuff is crazy. This stuff is crazy. Okay. I don't know if I'm ready to get into the, I mentioned the Kabbalah. But now I got to start going into all the divination systems. This is actually, I don't even know which left. This is my fourth joint. Yeah. This should have been the 5th one. There should have been one before this to go into a lot of stuff that, but as I said to this one, this one's so disorganized. This was just one. I said, hey, let me try something different. If it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But Harlequin's Madness is the next one I'm working on, dealing with the Divine Fool. I want to do this next Sunday, since I mentioned it on the tape. That's right. Divine Fool dealing with the super villain. Oh, man. With the super villain. There's a funny story behind how that came about, but in that one, I'm going to probably reiterate some, not really a lot, but some of the information on this in terms of my definition or how I see divination systems like astrology, tarot cards, regular playing cards you can be used. They're not really supposed to predict the future. They're just supposed to point out certain elements to help you reach your supreme godhood. That's really that's really what the whole point of it was supposed to be, for you to reach God. Not for you to go out and win $1 million.
God, are you?
Yeah. To reach a higher aspect of yourself. To become the one. The one. All right. So that was the whole science behind the divination systems, and a lot of the systems are all linked. So after I check through my notes, maybe I'll do a chess and my breakdown of astrology. I keep putting in the mind, not that I'm such an egomaniac type of guy. I once again qualify it that this is just my observation and there's room for it to be wrong. Means in the next tape I might actually come across something and do it differently. You know what I'm saying? But this is just my observations from the game right now. There's a chess and astrology. Oh, and chess and the tarot cards. Because a lot of the pieces are found within the tarot deck. Okay. Now, let's see if I should go into first. Oh, I should have printed this thing out. I should have printed this out. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But let me keep going back more into the board. The board is black and white. Or my particular boards, there's really no white hanging around. The boards are dark and light. And it's supposed to be it deals mainly with Gemini, duality, the balancing of good and evil. I say balancing. I try to choose the words carefully because when there were only original people on the planet, the concept of good versus evil, they worked more, it's more like a cycle kind of deal. They worked more hand in hand. There wasn't really any true evil. It was just an opposite. It was just an opposite energy's turn. That's how you put one foot in front of the other, you put your right, then you put the opposite energy. So by doing the opposite energy in that way, it creates a cycle, and that's how things move. So that's the difference between how now white people who have brought into a European mindset, have things this, black versus white, man versus woman. It's a conflict. It's not supposed to be a conflict. That's why in a lot of like the older stories, they never fully destroyed evil, because even evil had a sense that it's not supposed to rule forever. Evil is not supposed to try to destroy good. It's just to keep a cycle going. That's not how things are now. This is why we're always going on against this system, against Western society. Everything's out of balance. There is no balance. It's just destroy, destroy. Everything's turned into a really, we'd say negative, but even in the word negative is the word nigger. You understand? So it's still going in. There's still a lot of little plays on everything that's going on. The whole thing is psychological. And psychology.
Hey, you gotta pick up your...
Gotta get that right there. Yeah, here we go. Oh, man. Who is that young upstart?
Psychology.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Psychology. Psycho. Naeem Akbar did a book. I didn't bring it with me. I didn't intend to do this. This is just hitting me just now.
Chickens and images of Psycho.
I probably. No. Ancient Egypt. Was it Naeem Akbar?
Muwada asked me.
Oh, damn. I don't even remember the book.
Muwada asked me. You showed it before? Or Jeff showed it?
I never showed the book before.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Psycho was the Saku. But even without the Saku, it still means soul. Even for the Greeks, psyche meant soul. I see him sitting here traveling through my memory. It's not really written down.
That's good, though.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna... All right, back. All right, we're back? Okay.
No, we weren't supposed to say you back. It's supposed to flow.
Oh, we'll just go with the flow. All right, never mind, I said I'm back. Psycho means soul, And ology comes from the word logos, which means word. So psychology is dealing with the word or the words, which is like a book of the soul. You're trying to read the book of the soul. And that's psychology. Check, yeah. Look at that, like a real, look at breaking down words. Yeah, like a lecturer on this one. This will never happen again. I promise you. I don't like lecturing. I don't like lecturing. I like to sit down and I like to talk.
The Melanin Conference.
The Melanin Conference, I want to go on nice and early. That's why I wanted to go first, because I didn't want anybody to really see me. I'm not really, I don't really do live lectures. I'm an in-house nigga. A little in-house lecture.
Studio gangster.
The studio gangster. Yeah. Crowds make me nervous.
I didn't mean that.
Chris was here a minute ago. He looked mad bored. He was like, oh man, this dude, when's he going to get to it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nigga.
That's sure he got a lot of stuff on his mind. I was talking about the board being the balance of good and evil. I was going behind the whole concept of what the board represents in life, within each square. As each piece moves through each square, it's either moving through a good and evil, or a female or male type of energy within each square, representative of life. That's what the board represents. And according to my notes here, it's called the Floor of Mystery. And it's found, actually I just got this book from Chris just now.
Which book is that?
The Kabbalistic and Metaphysic, I guess that's G, Interpretation of the Masonic Square, Compass, a letter G. Just bought this during this tape.
That brother's gonna come out.
Yeah?
Crazy lectures.
Yeah, I bought one of his books before. Real good stuff. I like his stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just bought this while Chris was here. Chris is going now. I have to put that out because I can't see it. And let me see if I can find the picture now. Oh, no. Don't tell me.
I think I saw it.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me I can't find it.
You just had it.
I just had it. And I thought I left the book open to it.
All right, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, it's on page. Yeah, you can't really see it. It's like 73.
73?
No, 80 something. But you got to
80 something?
pass the middle.
Oh, I found it. 69. If you look within that picture printed up in there, 69, appropriate. That's the, you put those together, that's your 360 right there. It makes a circle. If you can see the floor, it's a checkerboard pattern. So that checkerboard pattern also goes into all games with checkerboards, checkers.
And what is that you're showing us?
This is Masonic Temple. Is it a temple? Embraced by the group of men's and minds. See, I haven't even really read the book yet because I just got it and I seen this image. It's a lodge? I thought it was a lodge because they say this pattern, the checkerboard patterns you find all over different lodges, some churches, as pictures on the wall. Let me see if I can find, like this right here, this is a pattern. I might find, but it's still a chessboard pattern. I did? How long's it been out? It's not out?
Just you hit it.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah? See the checkerboard patterns? There are a lot of patterns. The mystery, the eternal, well, we don't want to say conflict, but the eternal cycle of duality. All right? Okay, after we've gone through that, some occultists called chess a medieval computer simulacrum. Thing works sort of even like a computer inside your head. When you look at it as one game, not two different people playing, but it's one game. Works backward and forward. And in King Arthur, just a little side note, Gwendolyn, I believe, was told that she had I was told she had an enchanted board that played by itself. You know what I'm saying? In the King Arthur joint. I don't know if that's in the movie. I haven't seen that. But that's what's going on with that. All right, now, go through a couple of notes, check out everything. And now we're just going along. Everything's been going okay. How much time we did so far? Want to take a break?
Yeah.
Break it is.
We'll be right back.
Okay, more esoteric chess. Please write on the case, chess, not chest. All right, there's just a little joke going on behind that. We don't want to confuse people as to what we're talking about. You thinking I'm talking about chess. Then you see the damn board game and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? I said, oh, hell no. All right, now, I'm standing up on this tape because I just feel like standing up today. I'm drawing on the board. I'm doing all kind of stuff. I'm looking like a lecturer. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Who is this upstart? This young go-getter. Who is that young go-getter? All right. In the second part in here, I was trying to break down a lot of history, but even in breaking down the history, I'm gonna try to get now more into the pieces, but I still have to keep tapping in to the history of the pieces. So I guess we'll start off first with the pawns. On my Simpsons set over here, I brought this in as an example of how chess applies to other things. It applies to a lot of other systems. This is just the particular chess that I bought for myself. If we get the clips on here, you'll see other chess sets broken down through other themes. And in the Frontline magazine, they went into how a professional chess player, basically who was just paid to play chess, the bulk of whom are white. I don't even know if I've ever seen a black professional chess player. Shows how they're still generating money off of the concepts that originally started from the original people. So it's, you know, but again, I guess at the same time, since chess has been changed up from how you knew it to what it is now, I guess maybe it could be argued that it's their type of chess. I don't know. Okay, first off on the board, I'll start off with Bart, because Bart is a pawn in this particular set. There's 8 pawns. We go back into that infinity, build or destroy number again. And the pawn, which makes it special that Bart is the pawn, what makes it interesting is, I guess on the show, in terms of popularity right now, Bart would be the second most popular character. All the interesting shows usually come about from Homer and Bart. Bart being the pawn, they try to make him like, he's like the weakest, but at the same time, the strongest character on the board. It's like a real dichotomy going on with him being, he's like all over the board at once, you know, so it's kind of interesting they made him the pawn. And with pawns, once we've gotten to European times, am I moving around too much?
No.
Okay. Yeah, if pawns, once European times came out, pawns would be representative of serfs. See, this is how they started changing up the rules. Originally, it was just a military game, but when they Europeanized everything, they took out foot soldiers, and pawns would be serfs. Just a pawn. Pawns, they can be sacrificed, used as diversities. Did I say diversities?
Yeah.
I meant diversions.
Okay, yeah.
Oh dear, all right. Anyway, uses diversions, or they're sacrificed to allow the more powerful pieces to escape harm. That's the essence of a pawn. And a chess person knows that it's really a potentially, every pawn is a potential queen. So pawns very, very important in the game.
But they can never be king.
They can never, there's only one king. There's only one king. Never be a king. No matter what you do and how hard you try. In the European system, you'll never be a king. What else do I have here for pawns? What else are we talking about with pawns? See, pawns, what else I had written on here was dealing with that number 8 and pawns. A pawn would be considered a neophyte in this board. And when he goes through the whole board and reaches up his highest level, he becomes a higher piece, basically, something else. So pawns could also be, we go into 8 pawns, it's an 8 test of Job. Job went through 8 tests. That's why we start tapping into our Bible. And on this point, we start going into 8. I wanted to go into a little sidebar on the Beatitudes. This is something I pulled down off the internet, and this is something that hit me one day. The Beatitudes, when I was little, in a Christian school, little guy, my parents sent me to a Christian school. They wasn't so much sending me to a Christian school, they were sending me to a private school so I could be a little smarter than everybody else. Didn't work out. Yeah, I wasn't Catholic. I didn't have priests, anything like that. What? What happened? I think
you didn't have priests and stuff like that. No, I was just thinking about it.
I know. That's why I had to stop and pause for a second too after I said it. Then I realized what I was saying. Like, nah, I was never Catholic. I don't come from a Catholic background. But the Beatitudes, there's 8 of them, and I'm just going into this because we're dealing with the 8, and it's also at the same time it's kind of dealing with the pawn, because this was something that when I grew up, when I was little, this was in my head. And then, a little funny story real quick. The first time I met Aleem, he was doing a breakdown tape on the scriptures. And I said, hey, Aleem, when I was little, you ever heard of the Beatitudes? And he said, yeah. And I said, are you going to go into it on your tape? And he said, yeah. And then he never went into it. So it took me all of this time since January to figure out what it was. I was asking him to go into it because I didn't know what it was. And it's basically from Matthew chapter 5, verse 3 to like 12. And it's all of the blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God. Blessed is they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. And it's like 8 of them. Now, when you actually look at them in the book, it's actually 9 of them. See, the part where I said the 8, I got it from the internet, but the last 2 are considered to be like the same thing. Like, for example, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, and blessed are you when men revile you and persecute you. They could be kind of taken as the same thing, but it's really, I guess you could say it's 9, it could be 8. But
looks like 8 to me.
All right, we'll go with the 8. But when I first thought about, blessed is the poor in spirit and what that means and all that kind of stuff, do we have enough time for me to go into? Okay, we'll go into them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, not peacekeepers, peacemakers. I know a lot of people had a peacemaker before, time to make some peace up in here, you know what I'm saying? For they shall be called sons of God. It's the Son of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. I had a time figuring out, because I didn't know what they meant by blessed is poor in spirit. That didn't make sense to me. But it really meant humble. And I had to read through them real quick and deal with the pawn, because they're not one by one. It's all steps. All 8 Beatitudes are a step. The blessed and the poor in spirit means you're supposed to start off humble, then you're to mourn. Blessed are those who mourn. I guess you would mourn because of your humbleness in spirit, and they're all one step to the other till you reach that higher level. And that's how the same way it works with the pawns, who as they reach each higher level, they eventually can become the queen, at most. Or they can become anything they want with the exception of a king. But, they're still dealing with that power of the pawns. All right, the next piece after the pawns, which that's all I have on here for now. I'm sure. Oh, yeah, let me go into the moves. I'm sorry. This is why I keep saying doing this. I'm not sure. And that's also something interesting in the moves. I'm glad you brought that up. The pawns can move 2 squares on their opening. Yeah, on their opening, they can move 2 squares on their opening, and they can only move 1 square at a time after that. They can only attack on an angle. Yeah, on a diagonal. And it's interesting about the moves, because all the moves were changed due to time. And when I say due to time, I don't mean like through the years. I mean they changed a lot of the moves to accelerate the game. devils don't have immortality. They're not here forever. So they had to play shorter games. So originally, most of the pieces, if not all of the pieces, moved one square at a time. They changed the rules so everything can cut across the board and cut down the times because it was taking too long to sit down through that. And then they also introduced the queen. Chess as we know it today is actually, the technical name for it would be Mad Queen, because originally there was no queen. Not because there was a hatred of women, but it was more of a unisex kind of deal. You didn't need to go into whose sex was what. A person could be either ruler or non-ruler. So when they added the queen, and they called it the Mad Queen, the Mad actually is from, and I got this from Alim, is Ma'at, the Ma'at Queen. So that's when they added the queen, and they made it the most powerful piece. That was like in like 1500s, according to the books in Italy. That's what they say. When they added the queen, it changed the whole essence of the game, and they accelerated everything. And the queen is considered the most powerful piece. You could toss it up, who's more powerful, the king or the queen? The king can only move one space at a time, any direction, makes move the slowest, but the king is actually the soul of the game. If the king's gone, that's it. So that makes him actually the most powerful. But the queen can move any direction, any length of the board, basically, which at the same time makes her the most powerful. So that always goes back and forth. I'm gonna go more into the king and queen after I touch upon the castles or the rooks. And wow, actually I forgot to go into the tarot. Well, there's no pawns really in the tarot, but there are castles in the there's probably pawns in there too. It's probably under another name. The rooks in the tarot generally under the chariot, and they're also the foundation. They're on every angle, and they're basically the foundation of the game. The rooks. Let's see what my notes say about these castles. Castles, chariot, and it was originally an elephant with a tower on his back, representing Hannibal, a tower on his back. You would see the same kind of castle, same kind of tower, but there would be an elephant underneath it. And that was representative of Hannibal knocking them Romans down a peg. Taking them under. So that was going on with him. And the rook can move straight. Yeah. Move straight this way or straight that way.
See on the board like
Can you see the board from here and all that kind of movements like that? Move straight down that way and that way. And the rooks moves on those. The castles moving on angles to the foundation. It's the castle. It's the most down to earth piece. It's the earth piece. In astrology, I would say the rook would be the Taurus, which is the Taurus or the Scorpio. Keep in mind, there's only 6 pieces. There's technically 6 pieces. In astrology, there's 12 signs, but each one is flip of the other. So whatever one represents, if you look on the other side of the board, that represents is opposite. So I put that. This is me talking now. That's why if you hear me a little stutter or whatever, this is my kind of breakdown. I couldn't find this information anywhere. This is just my observations. If you find something else, if you find somebody else saying it, they probably bet it from me. And if there's the rook, would be representative of the Taurus. The pawns, I was up in the air, because I know up on The Simpsons, Bart I would consider to be an Aries. But I think in this particular breakdown, he would be, the pawns would be a Pisces or Virgo. Virgo dealing with more of the details, the small. Pisces really the sign that's more swept up into the spirit of things. On books, I'm not talking about people-wise. We're talking about, what is that, archetypes would be the best word we're talking about here? We'll go into that. That's what Pisces would be on the books. And Pisces is the one, that gets swept up in that kind of thing, be mostly a pawn. The bishops, these are not bishops. Wow, I played myself. The knights, the knight, once we start getting into the knight, let me look up real quick what I have down here for the knights for what they were originally. Okay. It was originally a horse, always a horse. It was always a horse. And
I'm sorry.
this guy? would be Sagittarius.
I didn't mean to jump.
No, it's okay. I was going to say that anyway. Sagittarius, which also would be Gemini. And only reason I'm searching for words here, I'm trying to put everything together. I don't write all this stuff out. But he would be the professional soldier. This is a soldier right here. The knight, as well as the pawns, those are the only two who really have the ability to go first. Those are the only pieces. When you start off the game, that's it, the knight? The knight. Yeah, the knight, since it could go over heads, can open, or the pawns.
Wow, that's it.
It's only those two that can always go first. No one else can ever go first because they're blocked in. I mean, you know, but still, the knight be the professional soldier, and he also moves in an L, which means he moves at a 90-degree angle. You understand? So, according to one of the websites I wrote, the L would be representative of the law. He's the soldier, the professional soldier. He's considered to be a little more important than a pawn, but still not as important as the other pieces. And he's doing that little L. He can go over heads, but he's kind of short-sighted. He can't really get down the length of the board in one swoop, like the rook can and the bishop. I always want to talk about the bishop, because originally the bishop was an elephant, considered the cavalry. But once the Europeans got a hold of it, he became a bishop. And once you hear the word bishop, you're dealing with the church. You're dealing with the Catholic Church, and that's what the bishops represent. And they move on diagonals. They move like an X.
Yeah, like an X.
Like an X. That means we're dealing with Christianity.
Wow.
Once you start talking about the bishops, we're dealing with Christianity. Bishop was just someone who is a name for a priest in the church that risen in ranks. So still, I'm going over the game a little bit, but we're entering the European mindset when we're talking about the games, the way they see pawns and serfs. I put him down to Aries and Libra, because Aries is direct, moves forward, and a lot of stuff just became by default. So, my struggle, I was saying before, I had a struggle with this, because the pawns I was trying to make it Aries because they move first, and Aries always goes first. You know, but I think it'd be actually more, the Libra aspect of it would be more within the church as a priest. Libra deals more with that, and then it has that directness. So that's what I would do with the bishops. The queen is representative of course, the moon, Cancer, and its opposite, Capricorn. And let me see, I know I got some stuff written here for the queen. Had a lot of stuff with the queen. I am so clumsy. I don't know what that is. Been reading too many of those long head books. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Go back to the bishop again. Not done with the bishop. The bishop had a lot of stuff for him because he was originally an elephant, became a priest, and there's one thing I didn't print this up that I should have printed it up just to shit on it. It was a website called the Esotericism of Chess by Samael Anwar, whatever, and he was basically going into how the whole game is homosexual. The whole game he basically was going into it being a homo game.
That was his take on it.
That was his take on it.
Right.
And the phallus would be one of the images of the bishop, because the bishop is also supposed to have a lance. He's straight, direct, and he's considered the sacred lance of the ancient mysteries, used wisely by the soul that yearns and battles with all the entities in the self. That was all concepts from the bishop, not necessarily taken from that particular website, but just the fact that he was calling the bishop a phallus, and his phallus sword fighting, his sword fighting, basically from the bishops fighting with each other and all that kind of stuff.
Oh man, I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, it was much deeper than that. I'm just skimming on that, but probably on the next joint, I'll go back to that and bring that website in. It sickened me reading about that, pissed me off. It shows just how these devils think. Yeah, deviated. He really deviated on it. Made it real sick. Okay, now, next, wow.
You got the queen.
Yeah, I was going into the queen, but I forgot about an aspect of the Beatitudes again, because there's two different Beatitudes. They're the same, but they're not. Because there's the first 8 that I just read are in Mark, but there's another 8, it's really 4. They get 4 positives and then 4 negatives in Luke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you want me to just read some of those, you want me to?
Read!
Read! Okay. Go into Luke real quick. This is something that bugged me out. Luke what? Ah, man. I don't know. I think I lost it. Never lost.
Never lost.
Never lost. There you go. Chapter 6. And this one is it's just, blessed are you poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. A slight difference in wording makes all the difference when you read them back to back, which I should have. Now that there's a gap in there, you may not catch it. Blessed are you that hunger now, for you shall be satisfied. Blessed are you that weep now, for you shall laugh. And blessed are you when men hate you, and when they exclude you and revile you, and cast out your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. Wow. Those are the 4 they put out in there. And under Luke, then they did the reverse of the 4. See, that was the blessing for those who are suffering. Then there's the curse, which is
What that is in Hebrew?
What's that?
That's the Shema.
The Shema.
And that's in Deuteronomy. It says, if you do this, you'll get a blessing.
Right.
If you do that, you get a curse.
Wow, man. So they did the exact. Yeah. So they just did the first 4 I just read.
Right.
They just went and did, woe to you that are rich, for you have received your consolation.
Wow.
Woe to you that are full now, for you shall hunger. Woe to you that laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. And woe to you when all men speak well of you, for so their fathers did to the false prophets. So that's just Beatitudes again, jumping all around. Yeah, because I just finished the Beatitudes. They went right back into it again. But hey, what do you get? Get a professional lecturer. He'll tell you what to do with that.
You got chalk.
I got chalk. I did chalk.
You did chalk. Okay, cool.
All right, we're going into the Queen, who didn't even exist
Right.
until like 1580.
Well, without the Queen,
What happened?
Nothing.
Without the Queen, we just got a bunch of men running around,
That's the
sword fighting. Well,
Nah.
yeah and no, all right, because
I'm sorry, man.
the bishop originally would have been the vizier. I went into the vizier earlier.
Right.
But they added in a queen, most powerful beast on board. She's the most powerful piece in the whole thing. And king guided by her advice. And when I was looking at that on the website, they was always going into the conflict between kings and queens. If no queens were very powerful, it was always kings who didn't have any kind of respect for their queens and lock them away. And if you were to try to do something like that on the board, it would basically bring your whole kingdom down.
If you try to cover around...
If you didn't give a damn about your queen and didn't have respect for her, you understand? So
Lost.
you would lose, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's all the pieces. That's all the pieces. Is that everything? What'd I miss?
What's the sign? The zodiac sign.
Oh, yeah, I went into that. The Cancer and Capricorn would be the queen.
What about the most important piece?
The king, representative of the soul.
Right.
He is, I guess that'd make him both the Leo and Aquarius.
What's your sign?
I'm the Cancer.
You're just trying to be
I wish, no.
biased about
No.
Aquarius being most important. That's what interesting stuff.
Well, they're the opposites. Leo is the king, Aquarius is humanitarian. And that's what's going on here in the world of chess. I think I covered everything that I had, except for a little bit of tarot cards.
Yeah, now, what did you bring those?
I'm just showing some of these pieces. I'm just reaching down here for a second. I didn't drop this time. I put it down there. Please pardon the white images. I didn't see any tarot cards with any black people on them.
They got the Risha Tarot and they got the Kemetic. No, the Kemetic is good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've never done tarot cards. I wouldn't, if a tarot card came and bit me on the ass, maybe I would know it was a tarot card. Oh, I was just trying to pull out all the different pieces that shows how the chess set relates to the tarot cards. And here we got the Emperor, which would be the king. Depends on whose set you're reading.
Yeah.
And the Empress.
Okay.
And I got these from, this was just something I just picked up. Just on the line, Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah, they sell those towns.
Yeah, but just to show, you know, that the things that were once considered spookism, anti-Christian, if that's such a thing, and and now they got it selling, and you know, everywhere. Like, think it's okay. Yeah.
I don't care, man. This has been an excellent take.
Yeah. Well,
Really
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Would you like me to end it with the same song we started with?
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, have a party.
What's the name of the next one coming out?
Oh, Harlequin's Madness.
Oh, man.
Dealing with the divine fool and the supervillain. Yeah, and I have real tarot cards for that.
What's this dealing with again?
The divine fool and the supervillain.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Man, no.
I guess that's it.
It's EyeOpenerProduction, and we got Brother Razwell. We will be back next week, right?
Yeah, just
Harlequin.
destroying any concept you might have thought of a lecture, pretending he knows what he's talking about. I'm singing, I'm dancing. Yeah, what are we saying?
Now, what's the purpose for all this, yo? All these lectures do?
Oh, it's always dedicated to the death and total destruction of Western civilization.
All right, and we're out. Yay!